Hi all, welcome to the Ethical Investor channel where we discuss about the halal investment opportunities that is available in India as well as abroad. So, in this episode, we will discuss about the halal mutual funds that are available in India to invest. So, without further ado, welcome all to the Ethical Investor channel. As I mentioned before, in this episode, I will be discussing about the mutual funds which are Sharia compliant. So, coming to the video, in this video, I have divided it into different sections. So first, before going to the Sharia compliant mutual funds, I'll be discussing what is a mutual fund. Then we will discuss what are the Sharia compliant mutual funds that are available in India, and then I will be comparing all the mutual funds, Sharia compliant mutual funds available in India. And then I will also discuss about the each portfolio of each mutual fund and their returns over the last 10 years. So before going to the Sharia mutual fund, what is a mutual fund? So so the definition is of a mutual fund is it's an investment program which is funded by shareholders that trades in diversified holdings and is professionally managed. So what does that mean? So it means basically the shareholders is the retail investors like us that we give the money to this professionally managed mutual fund manager, and they put that money into into a diversified portfolio, and these managers will manage the fund for us. In return, they will be taking a part of our investment as commission every year. So the benefit for the investors, it's passive compared to the in, uh, investors who pick shares or share or the stocks by themselves. So it is relatively passive. That's the advantage for the investors, and for the mutual fund managers, as they're managing and taking their time, effort, and managing the portfolio, they will get a commission and they make money that way. So that's how the mutual funds works. In India, at the moment, there are 44 asset management companies. So you might have heard Tata funds, HDFC funds. So there are almost 44 asset management companies in India, and each asset management company will have different types of funds like large cap funds, small cap, mid cap funds, debt funds. So there is lots of mutual funds that are available in India, which are managed by 44 AMCs. But unfortunately, though there are 44 AMCs and multiple funds by each AMCs, the mutual funds that are Sharia compliant in India, that's only three. So we will be talking about these three mutual funds in this video. So which are they? So the first one, it is the Tata Ethical Fund, which is quite popular and more trusted because it is coming from the house of Tata. And then there is Taurus Ethical Fund, and then there is also Nippon in the ETF Sharia piece, which all describe themselves as a Sharia compliant mutual funds. So the difference between the Tata Ethical and Taurus Ethical is that, and Nippon India is that for Nippon India you will need a Demat account because it is an ETF fund. But Tata Ethical and Taurus Ethical, you can invest directly, either going to their website or through a third party. So that's the difference between uh, the Nippon India with the other two. So that's the thing which need to be noted. So I'll be going to the individual funds. So first, I'm going to Tata Ethical Fund. As we are talking about the Sharia compliant funds, the first screening criteria which we'll be checking is their Sharia compliance. So if you go into their website, you can see a Sharia compliance certificate that is certified by TASIS. TASIS means Taqwa Advisory and Sharia Investment Solutions Private Limited. So this TASIS groups is not is a group that is contracted with NSE, that they certify or they check the compliance of the companies uh, for the Sharia. Sharia compliance is checked by these groups for NSE, and according to their recommendations, the NSE create these Shariah 500, Shariah 50 portfolios. So it's not just the Tata ethical. They have so they are trusted groups because they are contracted with the NSE to certify the Sharia compliant stocks. So so the first screening is done, and they met the Sharia compliance. So we'll go to the other details. So what are the other details? So it is a multi-cap fund, so which means that it contains large cap, mid cap, and small cap companies, and we can start the investment with a minimum of rupees 5,000 rupees, and then you can start an SIP with as little as 1,000 rupees, and there are regular and growth funds. So if you the people who don't know about the difference between the regular and growth, so the regular funds, there is commission will be more because it is an active because a regular fund, the commission is more than that the growth fund, because regular fund is actively managed by the mutual fund managers. So that's the difference. So regular fund will be cost more. So who not aware about the difference, so whenever you choose a mutual fund, always go for the growth funds, because that will have less commission compared to the regular funds. So the fund size relatively big one, with 1,520 crores, and then the last 10-year returns, you can see it is 14.22, which is pretty standard, because I myself consider anything about the rate of inflation as a pretty good return, because in India the inflation is like 7 to 8%, so 14.22% over the last 10 years is pretty good. And coming to the expense ratio, which is the basically the commission which the fund managers takes, which is 0.95%, is also not bad. So that's about the Tata ethical fund. And coming to Taurus ethical fund, I couldn't find any Sharia compliance certificate in their website, but I can see a text on their website, because this fund is based on the S&P BSE 500 Sharia. So as I told in the last slide, that BSE 500 Sharia, this stocks in this index is certified by the Tasis group, which certified the Tata ethical group as well. So as this fund is based on the S&P BSE 500 Sharia, so they are Sharia compliant. So coming to the details, so again, it's a multi-cap fund. So multi-cap fund, which again means contains large cap, mid cap, and small cap companies. Just like Tata ethical, we can start the investment just with 5,000 rupees, and SAP we can start on a regular basis of 1,000 rupees per month. Again, there are regular and growth. The fund size, you can see, it's pretty small funds compared to the Tata ethical. Tata ethical, it is 1,500, almost 1,500 crores, but here it's only 89 crores, so it's relatively a smaller fund. The returns, there is not much difference. Tata ethical, we given returns of around 14.2, but the Taurus ethical is slightly less, which is 3.64, but not a big difference. But there is a slightly expense ratio slightly higher here, which need to be noted. So that's about the Taurus ethical. Then coming to the third one, Nippon India ETF Nifty 50 Sharia base. So this is basically a fund based on the Nifty 50 Sharia base. Basically, what the Nifty 50 Sharia base contains the Sharia compliant stocks of the Nifty 50. So again, I couldn't find any certification, but again, they had mentioned this is based on Nifty 50 Sharia, which is already certified by the Tasis group, which certified the Tata ethical as well. So that Sharia compliant part is ticked. So we can go to the further analysis. It's mainly a large cap fund, because as it is based on a Nifty 50 Sharia compliant stocks, it's mainly a large cap fund with a very small weightage to the mid cap fund, and there is no small cap fund at all. So it's comparatively risk free compared to the other two funds. It needs a demat account because it's an ETF fund, and then price starts with 417 rupees per share when I create this video, and the fund size is very small compared to the other two funds, only 15.37 crores. The expense ratio is comparatively less compared to Tata Ethical, but Taurus Ethical is slightly expensive than the other two funds. So last 10-year returns, it is slightly less if you compare with the Tata Ethical and the Taurus Ethical. But you can again you can see this is a comparatively a low risk fund. So this returns is acceptable. Again, as I told, this quite well. It's not a bad 12.91. This is almost like a 13% returns. CAGR over last 10 years, which is pretty decent, I would tell. So now that we discussed about three mutual funds, I will just show you comparison tables where I compared all the three funds, and you can choose which one to go. So, you can see Tata Ethical, Taurus Ethical, and Nippon India shariah piece. So the type of the fund, Tata Ethical is a multi-cap fund. Taurus Ethical again a multi-cap fund. But Nippon India is a large cap fund. So what does that mean? So Nippon India is relatively low risk compared to Tata Ethical and Taurus Ethical because it contains Nifty 50 companies, which are the top-notch companies. That's the difference compared to the other two. So risk, as I told, as Nippon India is a large cap fund which is based on Nifty 50, which are the top-notch companies in India. So it's the risk comparatively less. And then coming to the 10-year returns, you can see Tata Ethical has got returns of 14.22, which is pretty good. Taurus Ethical are not far behind. But Nippon India is slightly less, but I would accept this as it is a low risk compared to other two funds. Expense ratio, as I mentioned earlier, Taurus Ethical is slightly expensive compared to the other two funds. And the fund size, again, I would, as I discussed it before, it's Tata Ethical is the biggest among these three. I'm not recommending any mutual fund. You should do your own research, but if somebody asks which one you prefer, so first one I would be going will be Tata Ethical. This is because this is the biggest, it's big fund. It is coming from the trusted Tata house. The returns is pretty good, which is 14.22, which is pretty good, and the expense ratio is not that, also not very bad. But and for the diversification purpose, I would add small money to the Taurus Ethical. And coming to the Nippon India, the people who want to go for a low risk investment in a Sharia compliant mutual fund, Nippon India is the fund they can go for. So as we discussed each fund's comparison, as we compared all the funds, we can just go through the each fund's portfolio and see which companies they have in their portfolios in the next video. So I will share their each company's portfolio in my next slides. So yeah, I have gone to the details of Tata Ethical Fund. So you can see that it's a fund size of 1,500 crores, and the expense ratio, it is mentioned 2.21, but it is a regular fund, so that's why the expense ratio is slightly high here. So you can see the returns. I already discussed last 10 years is 14.4, which is pretty good. And if you look at the returns since inception, it is 13 points. So it's always maintained a good returns of around 40, about 10% definitely over the even in the last 3 years, it's almost 19.39, which is pretty good. But it is accompanied by the bull run which happened following the COVID. The last 5 years is slightly less, 10.81, but if you look at the 10 and since inception, it's almost it's pretty good, which is 14%. So now that we have looked at the returns, we can go to the portfolio. So as I discussed, it's a multi-cap fund which contains large cap, mid cap, and small cap funds. Mainly large cap. 50% of the portfolio belong to large cap, so which is pretty good. So it's slightly less risk because it's mainly the weightage is mainly for the large cap. So if you look at the companies, you can see Infosys, TCS, HUL, HCL, Ambuja Siemens, Tech Mahindra, Cummins, Tata Elxsi. I would tell all pretty top-notch companies in India. So I don't see any problems in their portfolio. So we can go to look at their complete holdings and see what all companies are available in their portfolio. So you can see Ultratech Cement, Asian Paints, Voltas, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, Havels, Balakrishna Industries, Relaxer Footwears. I would tell I couldn't find any problem with any of these companies because they are all top-notch companies in the Indian stock market. Emphasis are there, Sundaram Fasteners, National Aluminium Companies. So it's a pretty good portfolio. I don't see any problems with their portfolio per se. So that's about the Tata Ethical Fund. Now we can go to the okay, so I'm on the Taurus Ethical Fund page. So again, the fund size, as we discussed, it's like 88 crores, which is very less compared to Tata Ethical. And expense ratio again is 2.41, but that's for the regular, which will be expensive than the direct fund. So coming to the returns, as we discussed, it is the last 10 years, it is 13.54. So if you look at the last 5 years returns, it's 10.94. It's almost comparable to that of Tata Ethical. And since inception, it's pretty good, 16.75. It's very good compared to the Tata. This is more than the Tata Ethical Fund. So if you look at the returns since inception, Taurus has performed well than the Tata Ethical. So if you compare both, I don't see much difference with their returns, but again, if you fund size, Tata Ethical is pretty bigger funds compared to the Taurus Ethical. So that's the main difference I found. And coming to the portfolio, portfolio can be pretty different with that of Tata, but still there can be some common companies. But we can have a quick go through. So yeah, as I discussed early, it's a large cap fund with nearly 40% of multi cap fund with nearly 40% as large cap, with 20% of mid cap and 13. So compared to Tata Ethical, which contains 50% large cap, here the large cap comes 40%. So I would tell slightly high risk compared to that of Tata Ethical Fund, because the weightage to large cap is less, but not much. It's not a significant difference. And coming to the holdings, it contains the Reliance, Infosys, Ambuja Cement, TCS, HCL, Narayana Hrudayalaya, GAIL, Exide Industries. Again, I'm not seeing any major problems in their portfolio, because all are quite top-notch companies present in India. So again, if you go to the detailed holdings, you can see Maruti, IRCTC, Prince Pipes, Cipla, Larsen, L&T, TCA, Tata Consumer Products. So yeah, there is difference. The portfolio is there are the companies that is present in the portfolio of Tata Ethical and Taurus is quite different. But there is not. But the portfolio or the strength of the company, or the how good is the company, if you compare all their portfolio, all the companies are top-notch companies and pretty good companies, and I'm not seeing any major problems with any of these companies or problems with any of their portfolios. So now that we discussed Tata Ethical and Taurus Ethical, we can go to the Nippon in the ETF Shariah B. So as I mentioned earlier, so this is a fund based on the Nifty 50 Shariah B's index. So it contains the Shariah compliant funds that are present in the Nifty 50. So those who don't know what Nifty 50 is the index fund of India and the index fund of NSE, which contains the top-notch 50 companies, out of which the Shariah compliant companies are 22. That represents this fund. So it's mainly a large cap fund, and the returns, if you look, as I mentioned earlier, this is a low risk compared to the other two funds. So the returns comes with high risk. So as it is a low risk, you can see the returns is not as par with that of Tata Ethical or Taurus Ethical, but the people again, it has managed to beat the inflation. So there is nothing wrong in investing, especially for people who want to go for a low risk funds. So again, as I told, it's mainly a large cap, which almost 90% is represented by the large cap companies, and as I told earlier, it contains the 22 companies which are Sharia compliant among the Nifty 50. So I don't think we need to talk much about the companies, because as these companies are represented represents the Nifty 50, all are top notch companies, and very low risk compared to the other companies, and people who want to go for a low risk, this is a pretty good fund. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. The purpose of this video was to discuss about the halal mutual funds that are available in India. I hope I managed to cover a pretty good part of all these three funds. And if you like the video, please put the like button, and please subscribe for more videos on halal investments that are available across India as well as throughout the globe. So goodbye. Have a good day.